I'm gonna go ahead and get this one jumped off real easy.
Yeah.
So you say yeah. You now listen. Don't go attacking the man. KS Kevin Samuels.
Oh no.
Huh?
No, go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
So my so did you watch the last video did you watch the video that I sent?
Yeah.
And I'm gonna post it you know, so people know which one we're referencing. But I want to get y'all's opinion on based on the video. Now he has a lot of content and I've watched a few videos now. But what's your opinion? One, first on the information he's given before you take a shot at the individual, at least on the information or the message that he's sending. What's y'all's take on that?
Well, for me, first of all, that was my first video I've ever seen of him. Of course, I've heard of him, social media, his stuff circulates, but that's my first time ever sitting down just really listening. And I didn't expect that. I mean, of course, he has other content, but hey, he was saying some real shit. Like, you know, I come across women and men. Once you hit a certain mark, you are stuck in your ways. Can't teach you nothing. Ain't trying to grow. Not trying to do something different. Not trying to switch it up, evolve. Like it's true. So he didn't say anything out of line to me, and I mean, she didn't have a rebuttal. I mean, the way that people describe his content, I thought that his delivery was worse. Maybe he has given worse deliveries. Right. I have seen a clip, one short clip that was circulating that I was like, ooh, that was kind of nasty, but I didn't. This particular video, he was on point to me.
Okay. All right, Sam, what's your take?
Hold on real quick, man. I done sat outside and they're calling. I thought I sprayed the pollen off the deck.
Quick
I got a good one though. I sneeze. I got to blow my nose now. Hold on. Go back to Chanel. Go back to Chanel.
Well, I would say this. My initial opinion was one of the first videos I saw, and he was kind of reading the woman, and she was, physically, she wasn't all that. And he brought up the sexual marketplace value thing, I believe. And the way he brought it across to her, whereas it was real, my first opinion was more so based on the way he was delivering the information as opposed to the information he was delivering.
We may be talking about the same one.
Yeah, and to me still, I observe men and I respect a certain way men, and I'm not saying as a man you have to put on the kitten gloves. I don't like the whole clap back, willing to read a woman or ready to read a woman, because it's not necessary. You know, if a woman gets snarky and disrespectful and passive aggressive, then hang up the damn phone. I mean, and I've seen him do it in some of his videos before. But before I go off into my assessment of, you know, the information, what you think about the information he brings across, Sam?
The information that he brings across, I think he has a lot of solid points. And if you're looking at reality, you know, I believe that's what he's dealing in. Yeah, the nigga is argumentative, like a woman. But not saying damn.
I mean, that is a feminine centered.
Yeah, it's more combative. Women are more combative. They're quick to combat.
Yeah. So if you can get around that and just really listen to him, he makes some pretty decent points. And he's talking from a perspective of a certain type of group of men.
Right.
Now, I'm not in the 6-figure range, so I don't hang around 6-figure making people.
Me neither.
So I don't I don't know how these men think. I don't know how they operate.
Listen,
so I can't.
We got high value, but we worked at a store called Fred's Super Value when we was young. So we might be super value. And then if you go on the sugar aisle, depending on what store, they got what's called great value.
Yeah.
And then there's Domino, the expensive sugar. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying there's levels. You know what I mean? But go ahead, get back to your point. I mean, back to your point.
Yeah, I think that if people can get out their feelings for a moment while listening to him, then they can get some necessary insight. Right. Because women call him for a reason. Some women may call him just to get a reaction out of him. And some women may call him, I mean, that's just what I've seen in some of his videos, that they're trying to get a reaction out of him.
Right.
And then there's other women who genuinely have questions and feel like he may be experienced enough to give them some insight. But I think that a lot of his points are missed because of his delivery. And they just go straight to, oh, I'm going to attack this nigga because he's not validating how I feel. I think Buddy is the polar opposite of Derrick Jackson.
Yeah. So
men gravitate towards his message because men say basically the same thing that he's been saying. You know what I'm saying? He's giving women barbershop talk.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So a lot of men kind of cheerlead for him, because he's saying a lot of stuff that we've heard before and that, a lot of niggas have said before. It just doesn't sound favorable. You know what I'm saying? So like in this video where he was talking about the men that sell women hope, I think because of that's being so prevalent for so long, that's what a lot of women, not all, a lot of women gravitate towards. So if they're not hearing this information coming from a man that's favorable and that sounds hopeful for them, then they immediately attack it because it's probably making them feel uncomfortable about their current situation.
All right. Oh, so I got a quick question for Chanel. So one of the things I noticed that he does, women come and then he'll ask them what kind of man they're looking for, and then they'll give this description, and then he'll ask them to put a price on it. And when he's asking them to put a price on it based on what they're saying they want, a man that can hold it down, a man that does blah, 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 a lot of them jump to the six-figure category. Now, what I realize that he's doing is he's trying to bring those women based on his assessment and based on reality that maybe they need to consider men that are not in the six-figure range. Hey, consider a dude making 50 a year. Consider a dude making 60 a year. How do you feel about him giving them that reality check and telling them there's another lane that you need to be concentrated on?
I agree with it. I feel like that's something that women preach harder than anyone. I'm only recently hearing men speak out about, like have what you're asking for. Mm-hmm. But women preach that all day long. So, or not necessarily have what you're asking for, or your standards need to be reasonable. Date in your realm. So I don't feel like it's out of pocket for him to say, hey, look, you asking for XYZ, women all day long throw shots at the fact that when, there are men that, you can gain weight, you can do this, but they expect women to have all this list of things. So It's not out of pocket for him to check her on that same thing. Hey, you gotta have XYZ if you think you're gonna have a man that has, that checks off all these marks. It's real.
And that's one of the things. So I'm glad you answered it like that, because I didn't want to say it myself. But so what he is putting out to me is when women say they want a six-figure man, what he's painting is that that's a small percentage of men, and then especially a small percentage of black men if you prefer black men. And what he's saying is those men that are in that six-figure range, their options as men are more abundant than somebody like me. I'm not that dude, right? So, and I'm not saying this, no, don't get it twisted. I'm not saying this to, hey, come entertain me. But generally speaking, what he's saying is those guys are far more picky, and they want fit feminine. And it's not just fit feminine. they want also a certain age range, and the biggest thing is they want women that are at a certain age of having children. That's a big deal. Now I know that because I had children so young, whereas even my peers that have had figured it out and got to a certain place, they're now having their children. But men that are in that six-figure range, they wait, they get it all lined up, and then they're ready to have that family. Well, when they're ready to have that family, are you a 40-year-old man or a 40 plus year old man looking at a woman in her 30s, late 30s, early 40s to have children with? No, our brains aren't wired to be hopeful. Our brains are wired to be pragmatic, and you're optimizing it. And so you're looking like, okay, I hope to find a younger woman. They are, not me. I hope to find a younger woman who is ready to be married, ready to be at home with these kids I'm about to pop in her in the first couple of years of marriage, so on and so forth. And he's giving them that reality so that they can reassess what it is they're looking for in the dating market, so they won't die alone. Like, I mean, damn, like, that's the thing.
I
So
mean, I appreciate the quotes because it's like it's not. It doesn't mess. That doesn't mean that that's the end all.
yeah,
But be realistic.
is
Your
what you're
chances
setting
are
yourself up
greater.
for.
Right.
He's giving them probabilities, as opposed to Derek Line Ass Jackson, who's giving them possibilities.
Yeah.
Like, are we
Yeah.
gonna play the possibility or probability game? It's
Right.
possible that I can win the lottery and win the big money ball. That's possible. What's more probable is that I save some money, I budget, I stack some money, I invest a little bit, and by the time I'm a certain age range, I have a comfort level that I can pass down to my children. That's more probable than winning the lottery. You know what I'm saying? So he's giving them that. Now, another thing I want to venture into real quick, but I'm gonna get back to his assessment of women. He also assesses men. I don't know. So I don't know if y'all seen the videos where he gives men those pointers. There's one
No, I ain't
video
seen
called
those.
yeah, there's one called the select male, and he breaks down all these little check marks of men that are select. And there's another one where a caller calls in and he kind of but he gives men the same reading. There was one brother he called that called in, and the brother was talking about his situation. So he asked the brother straight up, how much money you make a year? Dude was like 40 grand. And so he was like, 40 grand, blah, 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 blah. He gave him a reading on that. Are you in shape? Dude was like, nah, I'm a little overweight. And then he said, how tall are you? Dude was like 5'7". And he was like, dog, you can't be short and fat. Like, how you gonna be short and out of shape? And so let me tell you, anybody seeing this, I have said the exact same things to men directly. Bruh, you gotta pick a struggle. You can't be short and fat. And you gotta be making enough money to where a woman views you as not a liability. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be, an asset. So he gives men that same feedback. When he was talking about select men, and Chanel, I want you to talk about this, but he went down the list of how women will make the eye contact, how women will choose, how women will put themselves in the line of vision and whatnot. So he was speaking about how women's body language and actions make it clear that they see something they want in a man. And I'm sure you can speak to that, Chanel. So when you see something or somebody of interest, how do you make it known?
Pretty much what you listed. Eye contact, body language. I don't mind initiating conversation.
Right. He
You
mentioned
know,
that too. He mentioned like how you'll be at a store and a woman will walk up to you and say, "Hey, can you tell me where the what is, or could you do this?" And he said, and as men, sometimes we're like, oh, okay, we're just moving, and maybe that strikes up a conversation, right? But then later on, you'll find out from that woman who engaged you that I knew who that was. I was just engaging you. So again, for men that are struggling, that is the thing. Now, Sam, I want to come to you about something. Being you're the married man right now, and I've been married, but you're the married man. One thing I notice is that he speaks a lot on attracting the person. I haven't seen him speak a lot on keeping the person. Now, maybe that's something else he does on another, maybe he forwards that somewhere else. But in this whole dating and relationship game, you could bag them all day. Can you keep them?
Can you keep them? Yeah, you can keep them. But that's it's. But to keep them, you got to constantly learn them, and you can't bank on knowing. I mean, you can't bank on thinking that you know them. You know, absolutely. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you have to be attentive. You have to be purposeful, and you have to be interested. You know what I'm saying? So if you're interested in someone,
hold on, wait. You just said another thing he said, and it's another thing I said, and I say it all the time. You have to be interesting, and you said interested. He asked that dude, "What's interesting?" And dude was like, "Well, I go to work, I come home." And then the dude went to talking about his hard life story. And dude, and he pretty much shut dude down and said, "Hey man, we all got a story. We all had a life. But what's interesting about you?" And to be interesting as an individual, you have to be interested in something that you know, learn. I mean, you're an artist. I act like I'm an artist. You know what I'm saying? those things draw people in as far as on an interest level. So what you just said, even in the context of a relationship, you have to be interesting and interested. But go ahead, go back into that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Matter of fact, when I was dating my wife early on, and we weren't even like, we were in the getting to know you phase. And you know, I talked about being an artist because at that time I was working for a nonprofit teaching art to kids. And one day I went to her house and I brought my portfolio with me, and she was flipping through the pages, and she was like, "Wow, you drew this, you drew that," and I'm looking at it like, "Yeah, it's not."
Nah, they ain't what you did. No, they ain't what you did. You was like,
it is.
He was like, "And I can draw you." Yeah, I know what you did. I know what you said. I know. He's trying to act like he was humble. Nah, he was.
Man, I'm always modest about my art because I feel like I can always improve on it.
It's true.
So, you know, and later on she told me that, you know, she was really captivated by, you know, my art, and I was like, oh, okay. I mean, I never thought that, you know, my art would be something that would be interesting. And you know, just my, you know, just talking about art, I didn't know that it would be something that she would be interested in. But I don't think it was more so the art that she was the different techniques and all this stuff that she was interested in. It was just the fact that a nigga knew something, and it was something that she didn't know
and could speak on it intelligently and articulate. Yeah. And that's one of the things that again, I can give the man credit, you know. And men have said this, and even women say this. And Chanel, you can speak to this. Women like for a man to be able to teach them something.
Yes.
Do you know something about something?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I don't know how in depth he goes with maintaining, but as far as attracting the person, I think he definitely puts that in there. He talks about a woman's sexual marketplace value. Now before I heard it from him, I saw it online a few times, and just by the words used in the phrase, I understood what they were talking about, a woman's sexual marketplace value. Like the very first thing, like people got to understand, everybody in the dating world, nobody's looking across the room at nobody thinking, "Oh man, I wonder how nice they are. Oh man, that looks like the sweetest person. Oh my God, I bet they're interesting." You look and you first see physically what you want, and then the other stuff starts running in your brain. So men and women, So what he's trying to break to women is that when he asks them those questions, how tall are you? What's your dress size? How, you know, or how much do you weigh? And that sort of thing. A lot of women, I'm pretty sure, are taken aback by that. But it is a thing when you're talking about a man of a certain caliber who has ridiculous amounts of options. Yes, you being 5'5" and 195 pounds, yo, like 5'5" and 195 looks like 5'5", 195.
Mm-hmm.
It can be shaped. Now, there are particular men who like that. And I'm not saying they don't exist. And some of you women might have one. But a man on a certain level, if that's not specifically what he wants, and very few of those men do, based on what he's saying, you got to take what he's saying. I'm not saying it's biblical and I'm not saying it's absolute, but I'm going to say you got to give that man 98% because this is his world. You know what I'm saying? If somebody was to ask me, what are military standards and what I can tell you that because I had that experience. So you got to lean on somebody else's experience.
Yeah, it's just like a person saying, about, people saying that it's not unhealthy to be obese. There are healthy, overweight people.
Right.
You might know a lot of people who are not wheezing, who are not struggling, walking around, but the argument that is ongoing. How many overweight people have you seen past a certain age? Like the
Right.
fact remains, you don't see, you can say that you healthy all day long, but how many people over 70 have you seen that are big walking around here? It's not very many.
Right.
So the same with him. How many successful men of the caliber that these women are speaking of are walking around with her? That's something that even I know. I feel like I got it going on, but I know that there are men that are a certain way that you don't see many men with thick women.
Right.
And I'm not even the thickest.
Right.
So it's just like, how do you not know that a woman that is that weight, that size, that height, whatever, is you're not going? That's not what they looking for.
Right.
That's just the real.
Right. And I think now I would say this. Sometimes
there
when he makes that when he makes the jokes, so he makes some jokes and they funny. He told one woman she looked like she was like a running back or hitting or linebacker, and now look, it is very fair. Listen, you can have all the jokes you want on the internet. The internet will definitely get you on the jokes. So yeah. I'm going to go into another realm. There's a lot of commentary on him being a bit feminine. People are questioning sexuality based on mannerisms, based on how he's dressed, or based on the way he's dressed, or the way he even take pictures. And I would say it's fair, not based solely on that, but I can't feel bad for you when you crack jokes too. Like when you crack jokes, then you open. Everybody can get you. The internet don't spare nobody. Yeah. They don't. And so now, do you think he is doing a service to the Black community as far as possibly bringing Black men and women together on one accord?
No.
Okay, give me that. Tell me that.
Because his delivery, because of the way he delivers his messages, it validates the men who disrespect women. And you know what I mean? What he's saying is absolutely needs to be heard. But the fact that he delivers it so raw, and there's so many people that do that and feel like disrespect and be, you look like this and this is XYZ and you have all these expectations, so I can talk to you like this because you stupid. Like no, you can't. Right. Your delivery is everything. So it's still creating a divide, even though the message needs to be heard.
I've always said, and I can't take this quote, but in order to be a teacher, you have to be able to reach people. So exactly. For teachable moments, you got to be able to be reachable or be able to reach people. The one thing, so I go back and forth in regards to the ideas where people have to be careful listening to it. And this is what I would say. All men are not, obviously, based on the percentages, most men aren't going to get to that 6-figure range and be able to have the choices that he has. And all women aren't physically built to be those type of women, or even emotionally and mentally built to be those type of women. Because let's be clear, men who have those resources, those finances, they can be some of the most successful men on this planet are sociopathic and narcissistic. And so many women I've known personally who have been in those type of marriages and relationships say, you know what, I don't want no parts of it, because these are some of the most controlling, disrespectful, treat women like commodities. And even him in his own messages, women talk about being cheated on, and he looks at that like it's just a thing. And a lot of dudes with that money, with those resources, look at it like, hey, as long as I'm taking care of home, this is what I can do. And this generation of women that's come along, they've been taught by auntie, grandma, and mom that, baby girl, you don't got to take a man cheating on you and mistreating on you just because he can take care of you. Survivorship is a thing of the past. It's going away. That paradigm is shifting because women are making more money than their predecessors. So with that being the case, there can be a lot of men that are getting set up if they think that by getting a certain amount of money or pursuing a certain amount of money, that they're going to be able to get women and treat them a certain kind of way. What you gonna get is a divorce and some child support orders. That's what happens. Divorces and child support orders, because it's just not going to work out if you think just because I got the bag, I can then treat women a certain kind of way. It don't work like that.
Totally agree.
I definitely agree that from what I've observed from men that make a lot of money, it seems like they treat women as if they treat women as if the women need them. In a lot of cases, they may give the man that leverage because they choose to be completely dependent on him. And that's what I was telling my wife. I mean, because we got 5 girls. I don't want my girls to be completely dependent on a man. Mm-hmm. Because at any given moment, that man could say, you know what, I'm bored with this and I'm gone. And I can take everything because everything is mine. So now you're stuck starting all the way over with nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna have to come back to me and I'm gonna take care of you again until you get back on your feet.
Right.
So I'm not raising dependent women. So I'm raising my daughters to be independent, so that when they become of age to get married, then before he even come along, they're able to take care of themselves. So they're not looking at him like, oh great, I'm being rescued. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want my kids to be damsels in distress.
Right.
I want them to be able to say, well, nigga, if you want to go, leave. No, you take what you brought in and I take what I brought in. And I'm good.
And I think now let me back that up. That's not to say, because some people will read from that, see, that's the problem out here. And waiting women to be independent. That's not necessarily the problem. Is raising girls into women that don't have to be solely dependent on a man to come save them. That's different. That's not saying not cooperative. That's not saying not feminine. That's not saying that he has an issue with gender roles. That's just saying that she doesn't need a savior. She's not desperate. Right. She's not willing to fall for the okie doke. I think interdependence is what everybody has to realize. There's I say this all the time. There's not anything in the universe that we know of that's not interdependent, meaning everything depends on something else to operate at its most optimum level. Men need women, women need men. You know, people need a partner, people need somebody in a relationship to balance them, and that makes it to where they can work at they can be their most optimum. And raising girls to become women that, you know, at least have something, can at least make their way, and along the way, yes, you know, be feminine and be cooperative. I think the one thing, and I want to ask Chanel about this, do you think that sometimes, because this is something he talks about on his show as well, that sometimes when women are pursuing education, degrees, you know, work experience, the time that it takes to get those things locked up and to get that salary, do you think sometimes those years are wasted? Whereas again, if you would have got married young, you could have had that family and them kids. You know, what do you think about that?
Well, I don't think that it those years are wasted, and it's a matter of, those years could have been used to necessarily have a family, but they could have been, definitely could have been used to explore and get to know how to have a relationship, like a meaningful relationship. Versus, because I'm assuming you're talking about the women that he mentioned that are always trying to get themselves together and focus on themselves.
Right.
Yeah. So I feel like, yeah, that time is wasted when it comes to being able to, have a meaningful relationship with someone, and also do other things for yourself, knowing how to, have someone and take care of yourself individually without that, being a distraction
Right.
to whatever growth you're seeking.
And it's, and traditionally what we got to look at, realize is, back in the day, older man, younger woman, you know, once the kids were of a certain age, you know, mom can go get a part-time job or a full-time job once those kids get into school, and then you got two incomes or income and a half, whatever. And that still happens these days. I see it. That's sort of what my situation was when I was married. You know, she took some time and she stayed home with the kids when they was younger, and then once those kids got to a certain age, she went back to work. And then we had offsetting schedules and things worked out a certain way. So I was not the only person bringing money into the household for a significant stretch of time. It was just enough to get those kids set up. And if that's doable, you don't have to be a six-figure man. I'm gonna say this: you do not have to be a six-figure man in order for that scenario to work for you. If you want the woman to stay at home for a couple of years while she's tending to the kids early, that's doable. However, you got to realize you got to do that early. You can't do that after she done put in all this work in life, and then there's a standard of living that she's used to. You got to get on the ball early. Y'all get that done early, get that out the way, and then by the time she's in her mid-20s, she can get back to it if that's what she wants to do. The kids are getting on the elementary school, and then cool, you can get it done. I think on both sides, men and women, there's this idea that we have all this time to play. The problem is men are told that you got all this time to play. And then when you're done playing, you can get to the bag and you can get the woman. What's supposed to be happening? Women supposed to just be waiting on all the men to go get to the bag and get their life together. Like it's a counterproductive thing to think that women should just be waiting around for that.
Mm-hmm.
See, the thing I hate is that a lot of people make relationships to be to look like it's supposed to be like a cookie cutter step by step process, to where life is so different for every individual that you don't know what is going to bring towards the both, to the both of you. You don't know what is going to drop off at your doorstep.
Right.
So you're going to have to, I mean, you can make plans, but life always has its own plan.
Right.
That you're going to have to adapt to. So you may have to alter some things, but a lot of people try to hold tight to this. It's supposed to be done this way, it's supposed to be done that way. Like the chick in the video, when she said, well, back then I thought it was supposed to be perfect. And that's when she said that, I was like, I from what I see, from a lot of women, thanks to social media, that they think that in order for a relationship to work, that it has to start off a certain way and it has to remain a certain way. And if you have that mindset, you're going to be stiff. You're not going to be flexible. And when life hits you and it comes at you opposite of your perfect way, then you're not going to be able to move with it. So you're going to break. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying not to forget my the point that I'm trying to make. But I guess I'll just go ahead and
your beard got in the way of the point we was trying to make.
I think it did, man.
Well, we only got 2 minutes left. This thing on timeout. But check this out. I would wrap it up a little bit by saying I don't think he's doing a bad thing. I think he's doing a good thing. I do think the message, and again, he has a purpose. You know, one person can't solve the whole human relationship, dating game, marriage, love, and all that. He can't solve it all. I do think he is, as far as specifically when it comes to men of a certain caliber, he's giving out very good information as far as what women should expect and what women should be prepared for if that's what they want. And letting them know that this is what you want, but it ain't likely you're gonna get it.
Right. Yeah. Like I think that his message, like I said, his message needs to be heard. His message is real. So he is doing a good thing. It's just not bringing men and women together, which I don't even think that's his goal. I think he's just trying to set a few women straight.
Right.
I don't think it's necessarily about bringing, us together. I think he's just like, wait a minute now. And not even, let me not say that, because you said he talks to men too, but I haven't seen him.
And he said he does.
He just people straight, and that's necessary. So yeah.
And in fairness, there's been some engagements, and people have given him credit to their engagements based on what they've heard from him. But yeah, this thing about to shut off. Anyway, that's all we got for tonight. We're gonna have something else coming for y'all soon. Y'all have a good night.
All right.